Welcome to Hope for Everybody, a channel that exists to highlight people and places that are all about providing hope to people in need. Check out today's episode.
Jason, and today I have an awesome guest today. This is Drew. Drew, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about you and your who you are. What's going on?
My name is Drew. I don't know what to say. I mean, really, I guess I'm a fun guy. I don't know. I think maybe you have to ask a few more questions.
Yeah,
I can't just give me a whole spiel.
Let's just dive in there a different way. Tell me a little bit about like your your childhood, growing up. Like where were you born, raised, all that stuff?
I'm from Plano, so it's like it's a big city, but it's a suburban feel. But it's a really big city. It's 400,000 people. But and Dallas is right there, so I mean, I grew up around a lot of different people. You know what I mean? A whole bunch of different people. So, and I'm still pretty close to my parents. So.
Yeah. How was your childhood growing up?
I mean, I was always obsessed with sports. Always from
All sports in one particular.
Football and basketball, because my dad was, he had played college, won a national championship, and dabbled in the league a little bit. So from a young age, I was like, and then you're proud too, and so it was just like I always just played a lot of sports growing up, and that was kind of my it was just all I wanted to do. Yeah.
Interesting. So then tell me kind of about your story. I'm trying to get to like from then all the way to where we are now. Like,
where we are now.
What was your experience with prison and like when did all that
start?
Yeah.
I just got into drugs, and not enough to where like it crumbled my everyday life, because I was probably a functioning addict, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I still got my associate's degree and such, but just when you start factoring in like incidents, you know what I mean? This happened. And so I went to jail for assault a few times, and I pretty much spent my whole adult life in jail to this point. So I went in when I was 18, and did 7 years. Got back out for roughly 7 months, and did another 3 years, and now I'm working on 8 months, in the free world. So,
tell me a little bit.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Tell me a little about like the prison experience. How was that when you first went in there? What was the difficult things for you to deal with once you were there?
I mean, prison is difficult. The world is difficult, but I would say prison maybe is a little bit more difficult just off of the insane characters you're gonna meet in there. You know what I mean? So you can't really ever get just a routine or you can't really knock out a routine because you're always dealing with unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah,
always. Living with 60 people at a time in a housing situation, and you got 10 of them ain't right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't predict their actions and such. So that's why I say like I had a difficult time adjusting in the world, with just being an adult, bills, taxes, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's nice not to be nervous all the time about folks, you know what I mean, and what's gonna happen, and on edge, just being in a place where you kind of have to, you always have to be on your toes, you know what I mean. It's nice not to have to deal with that at the moment.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about what got you in contact with Hope Ministries.
So I said I'm still close with my parents, but that's just like it's a true statement, but that's leaving out the whole story to where the truth is, I'm still close with them. They support me, but it's a situation where I couldn't go home. It just wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know if this is for everybody. I'm sure everybody's story is different, but for me, they've been like a really, really good liaison to. I can still have contact with my people, but there needs to be some distance. At the same time, I'm getting out of prison, and that's a whirlwind. And it's just they've been real helpful putting that relationship back together, among a bunch of other things, right? But that's, maybe the main one.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to be able to go home.
Yeah.
But and so they, even though my people still supported me financially here, it's, the framework is theirs.
Yeah.
And the houses that he's got in place. And
tell me a little about like what's your day-to-day life look like now?
I work at I got a fast food job right now, and I've been kind of on the back end of the curriculum for a while, so I'm not just knocking that out every day. At one point I was, but every day mostly just work, and if not I'm working, I'm just on my phone looking at YouTube or whatever. I'm kind of boring now, which is good. You know what I mean? For me, it's good.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoy it. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting on the porch half the time if I'm not at work. You know what I mean? And but that's good for me, man, because I can, right? Because if I wanted to socialize and be all up in everybody's mix, I could. But for me, the goal right now is to not be in prison.
Right.
And there's got to be, I got to prepare trust with people and stuff. So I'm cool right now. It's kind of slow motion, but.
If you're liking this content, don't miss out on future episodes. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Now back to the show.
What's the best part of the Hope Ministry experience for you?
For me, it's been, yeah, like I said, man, just not, if I'm not in jail, I can find a way to work everything else out. And have peace for myself. I would say that word though, peace. I've had a lot of, I got somewhere to lay my head. I've got an avenue to work, and I'm not paying a whole lot, to survive in the world. Yeah. And it's just, that's been the biggest word for me is just a real helping hand when it comes to getting out of prison, because it's hard and it's hard. And there've been glimpses of, and they've always kind of had my back with some assistance and such. So, I don't know if that answer is coherent, but that's how I'm thinking about it though.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, what would you say? Like, let's say, I mean, you've had quite a long journey, and I'm sure learned a lot between back then and now, and kind of what you're doing now. What would you say to somebody who is struggling with things, or is currently in a very dark place themselves, or dealing with prisons or whatever? What would you say to them now, having kind of come as far as you have and being where you are?
I mean, I'm gonna turn 30 in a few months. You know what I mean? To where, I just know, like, there's things I know now that I just couldn't have known. But it's just like tricks you pick up as to staying out of trouble or getting yourself out the gutter, and just learning from experience. If somebody is going through something, more than likely I've been there. Yeah. It's depression or got into a fight or an incident happened. I've been through all that, you know what I mean, 100 times over. So I would just try to, you know, I guess you can't really tell somebody this is what you do, but I would, you know, if any, this another thing about being here is I'm more open to talk about, you know, bad things that have happened to me, but I take them and those are the things now that keep other bad things from happening, because I can remember it and say, well, you know, I'm not gonna act a fool again. You know what I mean? So, I guess to answer the question, I hope I didn't dance around it, but just giving somebody a piece of my mind as to what, you know, I could be help. I don't know if it would help or not, but I'm an open book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. If this happened to me, I'll give a truthful account about it, and maybe it can help somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about your future? You ever think about your future? You have plans, things that you want to do, that you see down the line?
Yeah. I mean, of course. You know what I mean? Nothing too specific. Like I said, I'm a you know, wrestling fan, a sports fan, a socialite. So, you know, there'll be things in the future that, you know, opportunities to come my way. But for me, I know, like, okay, if you go to prison, then ain't nothing in my future, you know,
Right.
except that. So, but like I said, I always tell people, because I got out in June 1st of last year. So in my mind, I got checkpoints like, okay, well, I got through 2024. Next is probably June 1st to make it a year. But you just get more comfortable being in the world. You know what I mean? There's stuff you deal with here, but the more time you got, you know, dealing with a bunch of people, you're not acting out, and I just really, to answer the question, I just really believe, like, the longer I'm not incarcerated, good stuff will happen.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not in a rush. You know, I have to do this right now.
Yeah.
But and it'll get to the point where I can feel like I'm in a rush, because I'll been home so long that I won't have to, you know, not watch my back, be on edge all the time about, you know, am I gonna screw up? And the longer I can kind of get away from that, then, you know, the nerves calm down to, I can, you know, maybe do some more stuff I want to do. But for right now, I take it really seriously, just not doing anything that, well, I don't take for granted that I'm home.
Yeah.
I know I just, for right now, it's a big deal to me. Like I said, I spent my whole adult life in jail. I did 7 years, got home, and I was moving as if I never did 7 years. Like, would you forget? You know what I mean? Well, what happened? You know what I mean? So now I just told myself I won't make that mistake again. It'll be something else. It won't be me acting like I got everything in control. You know what I mean? I still need help from people. Just shut my mouth sometimes and listen, that sort of thing.
Sounds like a little bit of wisdom and learning from mistakes there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Drew, I really appreciate you coming and sharing your story. Again, I mean, this whole show, the whole purpose of putting this out is just to share that there's hope. And for people, you know, you never know where they are in stages of life and different things, what they might be going through. But hopefully people can hear your story and know, like, hey, there is hope. And you know, right now you're only this much in, but if we check back in with you here in a year, like, you know, you're probably going to be even way farther with more goals and more things that you've learned, and your life will probably start looking a lot different even from now to then. So I just appreciate that, and I encourage you to just keep going, and just, you know, everything can be reborn, everything can be, you know, restored, and so that's a wonderful thing.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, that's it for the show today. Thank you guys very much. Make sure you subscribe and look out for the next episode.
We've reached the end of today's episode of Hope for Everybody. If you'd like to be a part of the show and tell us your story, please visit us online at hopeforeverybody.org.